Well, guys, we're at the fantastic Caverns in Springfield, Missouri. It's kind of an interesting thing. You can read that if you want. I guess these are some sort of lights they used to use back in the 1800s. Here's some more reading for you guys. Kind of interesting stuff here. They claim it was discovered by this bloodhound here. No. They got a nice gift shop in here. Look at that. 20 bucks. I think it was 1998. We got all kinds of stuff. Yeah, my mom wanted to be at the end and they put us in the Jeep. That's good. That's funny. They put you in this little Jeep.
Here, I picked to be in the back.
That's funny. You got tickets, Mom?
I got tickets.
She's got them.
On the film, honey.
Yeah, we're putting her on film.
Where's your
She's a
crap?
movie star. Well, we'll see about this cave. We'll see about this cave.
My name is Mark. This is my friend Kevin. We're going to be your tour guides today. 3 miles an hour.
3?
Oh yeah.
Goodness.
Oh yeah. This is it.
That's pretty fast, though.
That's it, right here. I'll tell you, when
Well-
it's wet, we had a Jeep a few weeks ago, right that way.
Oh,
Jackknifed and
Oh, wow.
nobody got hurt, but it sure scared everybody. So we try to avoid that today.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, we're going into the cave. We'll see if we see anything.
I will warn you when you leave the duck. I will.
okay.
If you're tall enough, you
I've
might.
got it.
We're gonna trust you here.
And yes, you last this long.
Yeah, you can tell it's pretty humid in here.
Very humid.
Yeah. Warm.
Okay.
I thought it was gonna be freezing.
Everybody likes to look up on the hill. We've got our good friend Riddick up there. He's going to be snapping a photo of us.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
I was looking over the
It's
ceiling.
going to be a few one spots. Mark and I will be pointing those out when we get there. The first one starts as we go down the hill. So please watch your heads right here for me.
Okay.
Ooh. Got hit by a drop.
Oh yeah. That's how I get that rain of soft feeling every day in my hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm right under one. Okay. Okay, Riddick.
They're probably going to get our picture.
All right, there's
There's a smile.
Hill. It's His name is Riddick, and he is going to take our pictures. Everybody look up and smile. Be nice, that's my grandma.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay.
I probably have my eyes open,
Over
most
here on the
likely.
driver's side, there's 2 low spots right up here. You'll have to duck just a little bit.
See, that
up.
actually is pretty low.
Okay. We will warn you when to duck, I promise. And if I don't, this gentleman will. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, they picked you because you're tall. They wanted to put you up there.
Yeah. We set the bar high for you. All right, driver's side, left side. Watch your head right here. Be very careful. And then driver's side, left side, one more time.
Oh, that's pretty low.
I had a whole busload of folks from United Kingdom on my jury the other day, and I said, left side. They drive on English.
Oh, yeah.
Funny.
All right. Well, we're glad you guys found us down here in the hills. I guess you figured out by now when we have a lot of friends like you come to visit us, what we do is use 2 Jeeps, 2 trailers, and 2 tour guides. It's my turn to tell you our story. Okay, now we'll start with a history lesson. In 1862, an old dog named Juno was out hunting with his master John, and you know that dog scared up an animal, probably a raccoon, rabbit, we don't know for sure. And that dog went right into a small hole in the side of the bluff, and the dog disappeared. Well, John wanted his dog back, so he got a candle or a lantern. He crawled in that same little hole for about 20 feet before he realized he could stand up. What a surprise. He had a cave under his property that he didn't know anything about. Well, when he got in there, that old hound dog was up there howling and whining in the dark. Well, because Juno the dog came in first, we say Juno the dog discovered our cave in 1862. He was the first one in. In fact, up at the pavilion by the parking lot, there's a statue of Juno who discovered our cave. Well, John and Juno crawled back out. And you know what? John covered up the entrance to this cave, and he kept it a secret for 5 years. He didn't tell anybody, even his own family. Now, as we go along, we're going to tell you more about that story as we go through the tour. Now, jump up to the 1930s. Tough time in our country called the Depression. During the Depression, a farmer decided to raise a crop down here. He had several farm plots, but this is the only one left. And down here in the dark, in the damp and in the cool, he would raise mushrooms. Who said marijuana? No. No, mushrooms. You're absolutely right. Because you see, mushrooms are a fungus. They don't require sunlight. So they would raise the little button mushrooms and then harvest them and take them into Springfield and sell them in the market. And that's how he and his family made it through the Depression. Pretty smart folks. Now, a group this size, I'm assuming a lot of you have been underground before. Well, every cave is unique. They all have a great story, but we don't think you'll be disappointed in what you're going to see here. We're going to go up and show you a couple of basic formations at the next stop. All right, Kevin, take us to the next one. All right. Would you believe when I get home in the evening, my wife says, Mark, you're going to have to talk so loud anymore.
That's funny.
Hey, send me the potatoes.
You probably don't you don't live in the cave.
Nah, some days
Did
I
it
feel
echo
like
in there?
You haven't seen my house. No. My house is my wife's fastidious.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, hate to live there. I mean, no, she's great. Okay. Yeah. Once in a while, we get someone who's claustrophobic, and it's usually back there at the mushroom bed.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it gets them. And we have a contingency for that. We're prepared.
Pretty good cave.
Okay, now this is called a solutions cave. What we mean by that is it was formed by water. Ages and ages and eons of time ago, water used to rush through here and it would wash away the limestone and it would leave this great big place we call the auditorium. Now, when you go into a cave, often you'll see a basic formation like this guy right between the two trailers. Standing up from the floor, that's called a stalagmite. Stalagmite. You can remember a stalagmite because he hangs. No, I'm kidding. They don't lose anybody. All right. From the top, that is called flow stone because it looks as we go along. Okay, at the next stop, all these caves are beautiful.
That's very interesting.
Okay, watch your elbows. Watch your elbows back here on the passenger. Kevin's going to come in close.
Oh.
So watch your elbows. Kevin comes in really close because he's really close. There you go. No, it's actually because we have other Jeeps coming out. All right. Well, now you see my perfect cave column.
Oh.
Okay, it's fake, but it is perfect. Like I told you, with the family across the road decided to drill that well. Oh, they thought they were going to drill 10 feet the other side, but no, they didn't measure very well. Like I said, 90-some feet came through the roof of the cave. That's a mistake, okay? We ended up with a black cast iron pipe in our cave. They went another 50 feet, but they got water. They were happy. But that black cast iron pipe, they left it there. It's out of the way. Well, we learned a couple of things. When water comes down from the surface, it brings with it a mineral called calcite. You know, like the calcium in your teeth and bones. Look at how the calcite covered up that old pipe. Turned it into a perfect cave column, even though it's fake. But look up at the top. See those little ridges around the top of that pipe? Those little ridges are little baby cave curtains, like the ones we saw back there at the last stop. The only difference is the longest one up here is 3/4 of an inch tall. That's it. They drilled the well 82 years ago. So they grew 3/4 of an inch in 82 years. We did our creative math and came up with the idea maybe they grow 1 inch every 100 years. That's how we got that figure. It's just our best guess. But it brings up a question. If those little cave curtains are 3/4 of an inch in 82 years, then how old are those cave curtains up there? Look at those guys, huh? Well, you know I'm going to give you the same tour guide manual answer. All right, now we talked about that dog Juno who discovered this cave in 1862. And then 5 years later, 1867, they decided to explore this cave, but it looked a lot different. Okay, here's where I need your help. If you've been underground before, you probably know what's coming. This is where we're going to show you what complete darkness looks like, okay? But just for a moment, okay? I don't want to scare the big guys on here, all right? Now, here's the thing. I need your help. Those cell phones, or what hanging from the top, those formations are called stalactites. And you can remember that because they hang tightly to the ceiling. Stalactite. Now, are you or your mother? All right, folks, there's the small sinkhole. Left side, driver's side. Take a good look at it. We'll be back, passenger side.
Interesting.
Okay, now passenger side, both trailers, feel free to stand up and look over your friend's shoulder so you can see down in this sinkhole. All right? Now, that first sinkhole back there was about 20 feet deep. It's pretty much a hole in the ground and it's got a drain at the bottom. But this sinkhole, as you can see, it has, down there at the bottom is that dry riverbed I mentioned. But now this is about 35, 36 feet deep, something like that. The thing is, when we get our big rains, obviously it's not a dry riverbed, it turns into a roaring river. And I do mean roaring, it gets really loud. Now, when we get those great big rains that I talked about, as an example, let's see, Memorial Day weekend, the end of May of 2019, water was coming into our cave so fast. We had day after day after day of heavy, heavy rain. And the water came in so fast, it came in quicker than it could get out. I said there's a lot of small spots. Well, because of that, these sinkholes began to fill up. Not only on that occasion, and a few others, did they fill up, but the water came up over our bridges. Yeah, it flooded this place. And we had to cancel our tours for 6 days. Mostly because we don't give boat tours, you know. And our Jeeps don't float, we found out. All right. The water that are there all the time, and that's where some of our little animals live. For example, we have what's called the Ozark cave fish. He's a little guy, and he's pure white and blind. Because they live in total darkness, and always have. Then there's a little crayfish, same thing, white and blind. Then a little, what we call the grotto salamander. He's darker, but also blind. But then the fourth animal that everybody wants to know about, do we have bats? Well, the answer is yes, we do. But I'll tell you what, we don't see them very often. I'll tell you why. We only have one breed of bat called the tricolored bat. He's a little thing. He's actually about the size of my thumb. Kind of looks like a little flying chicken nugget, you know. He's brown and fuzzy. But we don't have very many. And they live up at the front because they go out at night and eat mosquitoes and bugs. In the winter, they'll come in here and they'll hibernate a little bit. But our scientists tell us we don't have very many, so we don't see them often. At the next stop, we're going to learn more about the animals down there and more about how the water gets in and out. All right, Kevin? You know the fascinating. We have our own sinkholes. Big, lots of small ones, but we also have 2 really big ones right up here. Now that lower cave system has some very large areas, but it also has a lot of very small places where we could not fit through. So when that water runs into that lower cave system and runs out for about 3 miles, it comes to a spring called Indian Spring. So what we're going to do, we're going to go by the first sinkhole up here, nice and slow. You folks on the driver's side, look down in that sinkhole. You'll see a hole in the ground with a drain at the bottom. Passenger side, in a little bit, we're going to be coming back and you'll get a really good look at that first sinkhole. But the second sinkhole, it's deeper, bigger, and we can see into the lower cave system. We're going to stop there and talk about that, how the water, and we're also going to talk a little bit about some of the little animals that live down there. Kevin, take us to the second sinkhole. Okay. I gotta turn the light out behind me. Didn't work. Later.
Oh, they got a big screen in here.
Oh yeah. No power steering. Alright, we've got a short little video here. It lasts about an hour and a half. No big deal. No, I'm kidding. It's about 3 minutes long. And by the way, we're about 120 feet below the surface right here. Now that's not because we drove into a hole, but that's because we're in the Ozarks and there's lots of big hills. We just drove under a hill. Oh, and they give me lots of music, so I have time to park my Jeep and my trailer, no problem. But when you've got 2 Jeeps and 2 trailers full of 4th graders, and you're trying to get them parked and settled down, you need all the music you can get.
Oh yeah.
See, the cave goes back another 160 feet to a wall.
We're doing some water sampling here at the spring that drains fantastic caverns. These are some of our samplers. A spring is the drainage point for a cave system. What I want to do today is give you a look at the whole drainage system, and it's going to be a good day for doing it because we have had a lot of rain the past couple of days. Why the spring is so hard. Water goes into the cave system through things like sinkholes and then moves through the cave and discharges here in the spring. The flow of the spring today is about 9,000 gallons a minute. And every bit of that goes through fantastic caverns. About 3/4 of the runoff water in the Ozarks.
9,000 gallons a minute? That's a lot.
Spring here at a vertical entrance into the fantastic system. This is one of the most open sinkholes in the whole fantastic cavern system. It's so open, in fact, the walnuts, the work in here, they go all the way through the cave. I could do without all the tricks, I think, but that's the way the water gets in. And of course, that's not only does the water get in that way, that's the way food gets into the cave animals and contaminants get in too. I believe the jeeps get in some way other than that though. Off-road! Off-road! The cave is here because limestone can be dissolved by water. This piece of limestone weighs about a pound. There is this much limestone dissolved in every 1,000 gallons of water discharging from the spring today.
Wow.
You can imagine the enormous volumes of water in long periods of time required to form the cave. Basically, a cave is a drain spring system. Since caves are part of spring systems, storms can flood them and make them dangerous.
Watch for the ping pong paddles.
This isn't your normal Ozark float trip.
Ping pong paddles are very low tech, but they work well and they fit in these backpacks.
Huh.
Very smart man.
The fish, the crayfish, and most of the other cave animals are tiny, white, and blind. Although they spend their entire lives in the cave, they depend on the surface for their food. When contaminants come in from the surface, they threaten the life here. With cave systems, whatever goes down comes up. Pollution threatens all life. By studying groundwater and by working to protect its quality, we can protect the beauty of the cave and preserve our quality of life.
Okay, well, when they decided in 1867 to explore this cave, a group from Springfield came out called the Springfield Athletic Club. Turned out to be 12 years. You know what? They had equipment, experience, and they knew what they were doing. So they did explore a large portion of what we see today. And being normal as they were, they wanted everyone to know what they had accomplished. So way back in another part of our cave, they wrote their names on the wall over 150 years ago. And they're still there, so now it's part of our history. We're on our way to see the most beautiful part of our cave. And on the way, Kevin and I will point out where those girls wrote their names on the wall.
These old ones will probably run longer.
Well, I'm afraid of it
Heavier
also.
duty.
Yeah. And it's also just a few inches wider and taller. My goodness, it makes you nervous. I drove it through the cave.
Yeah.
It really makes you nervous.
Like, okay, I'm so used to the one that fits through easily.
Okay, passenger side. Take a look at that sinkhole beside you there. All right, again, my passenger side, right side. Look at that first sinkhole.
Wow.
It looks cool right there.
Isn't that a nice shot?
Yeah.
They had some publicity pictures from, eons, the age of decades ago.
Yeah.
They came out a week or two ago and took some more kind of right in this area. And then we've got the most beautiful part is still ahead of us.
Oh wow.
This white thing is really
Isn't
pretty.
that pretty awesome?
That's a cool.
Quickly look right between those rocks. See that pile of snow there? It's not snow.
Oh wow.
I
Yeah.
don't point that out on tours most of the time because it's so hard to see. Hi there, Heather. It's so hard.
Right in your ears.
Got a pond. Probably got some largemouth in there.
Probably. No, usually the largemouths are in my Jeep.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you the secret about that pond. Back there where the pipe was, water used to rush across the road and wash out the road, so they put a little conduit under the road.
Hmm.
That is the one only water pond that's actually man-made.
Oh really?
You remember the Beverly Hillbillies? They used to have what they called the cement pond downtown.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
you're too young to remember those guys.
Like a cistern.
A swimming pool.
Yeah.
That's what they were talking about. But here, it just catches that water.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hey guys, I talked about those young ladies who explored the cave and then wrote their names on the wall. Right here, February 27, 1867, the first explorers. And then this is for you, man. All right, you people on the right side, passenger side.
Oh,
got a
yeah.
really big rock right here. Be careful. Watch your head.
Oh yeah.
I could warn them, but I can't touch them.
Yeah, that would be an easy one.
Okay. In the 1920s, there was a law in our country called Prohibition. And during Prohibition, they had secret nightclubs called speakeasies. And sure enough, right here in our cave, we had a speakeasy, literal underground speakeasy in the 1920s. Then in the 1960s, we had country music concerts on this stage every Saturday night. And the show was called Farmer Rama. Okay. They thought it was cool because NBC Radio would broadcast the show nationwide. Okay, in the 60s, nationwide was a big deal. All right, let's go back to our history lesson for just a moment. The dog discovered the cave, 1862. 5 years later, those girls explored the cave, 1867. During those 5 years, something very tragic was happening in our country called the Civil War. Now, Missouri was a border state. We had people fighting north and south, and there were lots of battles and skirmishes not too far from our cave here. But in those days, armies were looking for caves for protection, shelter, storage. One of the major reasons an army of the Civil War would look for the cave is the floor. The floor of the cave was often filled with what they called saltpeter, also known as potassium nitrate. Now, potassium nitrate or saltpeter comes from bat guano, which is bat poop. Now, some caves had more bats, they had more guano, but if any army found a cave, they would dig up the floor with the potassium nitrate in it, put it in a leaching vat, which was usually out in front of the cave. Then they would pour water over that mineral-rich dirt. Now, you have to understand, potassium nitrate is like sugar. It dissolves in water. So, what would come out the bottom would be a slush, or a slurry, if you will, and it would be full of potassium nitrate. Then they would pour it in a pot and boil it. And boil it and boil it until it was completely dry. The only thing left in that pot would be crystals of potassium nitrate, which they would mix with potash from the fire. They would mix with a sulfur, grind it very, very well into a powder. Yep, they made gunpowder or black powder. And you can see what an asset that would be to an army of the Civil War with their cannons and their black powder rifles. It's also a reason John Knox kept his cave a secret for those 5 years. He didn't want to take sides. And if an army, either army found his cave, they'd probably take his farm, his crops, his home, everything. Okay, we're on our way to... Alright. I think if I get a run at it, I can pass it. You don't?
No. I think not.
Okay, folks, now, this area is called the breakdown. We call it the breakdown because the ceiling is broken down 3 times. Remember I talked at the very beginning about how the water formed the cave? Well, back in eons of time ago, water would fill this chamber and that limestone ceiling would suck up the water. Then over the years and years and years, that water would recede and that heavy ceiling would break down. It's happened 3 times. I'll show you. The ledge along there is the first time it broke down. Second time, the ledge up there. And the third time is that ledge way, way up at the top. And the big footprint, that's our ceiling today. Now, when all of those ceilings fell down, I talked about all the water full of minerals over the ages of time. All of this that used to be ceiling is now one solid rock. And that I don't understand the ambient temperature of the surrounding area. Like some caves will be lower than 60, some will be higher. So yeah, you were right.
But it probably don't get like 40s in here.
Oh no, I mean year round.
Yeah.
Every day.
So in the summer, it probably feels cool.
Oh, it does.
When it's 100 degrees out, there's a good place
That's
to
why
go.
a man like me works here.
Oh yeah.
Warm in the winter and cold in the spring. Okay, now we are getting quite close.
Pretty cool. Pretty big.
Okay, now, for Kevin and I to get these 2 Jeeps and these 2 trailers out of here, we have to go around that great big column right there. So we have to pull way, way over to the left, up there, against the wall. Now, here's the news. Tin can, old coffee can or something with a candle stuck in the bottom of that can. Then they would light that candle up inside there, and they would have what we call a candle lamp.
Oh, I saw it.
That's what my mom was
Okay,
saying.
driver's side. It's a little bit low here. Be careful, driver's side.
down.
And then the passenger side. Watch your head, guys. Watch
It got
your
cold
head.
quick.
We talked about the original entrance to the cave. And can you see that hole in the rock right there?
Yeah.
You ready for your treat? See it? See it? See it? Nice catch. Nice catch. We'll give you one more for the show. One more, boy. See it? Nice. Very nice. Good boy. Good boy.